Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Off the Dome. I'm your humble interviewer, Jordon Brown, and with me, as always, is our incredible interviewer. Say hi, incredible interviewer.
Hello, incredible
You froze, so
interviewer.
I'm just going to assume that you said yes and hi and those
I
things.
did, and I said it in a really
and now I'm
fun
just
way,
gonna
sort
talk
of.
until I see you move
Oh,
again.
no!
Oh man, I can't wait. So, one of the true joys of the last interview we did
And now
was you froze periodically.
Frozen, like this.
As I think you are. Great. Yeah, but this is fantastic. Gang, it wouldn't be Jordon and Vic become best friends video if there wasn't severe technical difficulties. We dab now. I love it. The joy of the last interview we did was I had multiple times where I had no idea what you had said as an answer. And so I go back and I rewatch as I'm like editing it. Usually, but yours was the first interview that I went back and rewatched like the whole thing right away because I was like, oh God, this is truly nightmarish, isn't it?
This might be the worst technical issues we've had to date, I would say, which is a bold feat. Am I sounding more in line? Am I lined up?
You're perfect right now.
So I stopped talking probably about 15 seconds before you answered me.
To me, it was seamless.
Okay, now this is seeming more in time.
Great. Well, I did laugh very hard at the end of that, so who knows? And now you're frozen again for me. There's
like a 2 to 3 second delay.
Truly. This is going to be unwatchable, and I love it so much.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be so quiet until you finish answering a question when I can hear it, because then Riverside can match it up. We can try that for 1 or 2 questions, and if it's bad, we can try this again later.
For those of you watching at home, Vic is frozen for me right now, so I don't know what they're saying. Oh, they're back.
Jordan, you're perfect for me. And this is going to come like 10 seconds later, and so you're going to respond to the first part that I said, and now you are completely frozen again. Here's, I think, what the issue is, if I could pinpoint it, is that I got HMU for a project that I'm not talking about. I refuse to tell you what it is, so don't ask, because I'm not going to answer. And I think it's because my hair and makeup is done today that the interview can't go on. The universe said no.
That's entirely. Yeah, no, that makes sense to me. This is so delightful. Let me see if I can get one question in. We've talked about that I have a 2-year-old, and I think this qualifies as a podcast. Is there a reason why Tinselina has not offered me any gifts yet?
Jeez. On camera, I thought I was going to have it done before this. You're frozen, so I'm assuming... Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh, man. Delightful. This is so good.
I don't know if you asked a question. I didn't hear a question.
I did. It's fine.
What was the question? Let's try one more time.
Yeah. We've discussed that I have a 2-year-old. I think this qualifies as a podcast. Is there a reason Tinselina has not offered me any gifts yet?
No, there's not. And I think that, again, that is something that you need to take up with the Fairy Council, because they are the ones dispersing. This does count as a podcast, absolutely, except this is sort of like, where are you broadcasting it? Patreon and TikTok, right? Are you releasing just audio versions?
At some point, probably.
At some point, probably. So maybe at some point, probably, Tinselina will come visit you and give your child a gift, would be my answer to that.
Perfect. Yeah. I like to start my interviews with a level of like inaccessibility for an average person that just like right off the bat, they're like, I don't know what's happening. This is so bad. This is so bad even for us.
It's tough because it's not even consistent. It's not even like I can wait 5 seconds and then know that like I'll be able like it's like you are fully freezing and cutting out, and you also just are generally a still person, which I think is a gift. And it is so I can sometimes you'll cut out and I'll keep talking because I will think that you are just actively listening. And I think that's maybe a personality flaw for me that I just I'm like, oh, Jordan's listening, intently listening, and you've frozen. So this is just some bloopers, I guess, some fun fodder for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have released the first 2 on YouTube.
Oh, incredible.
Wild acclaim. Yeah, people are loving them. The playlist is called Very Important Playlist, I think. And then the videos
Perfect
are titled Vic
playlist
and
name.
Jordan Become Best Friends 1 and 2.
Come on. So this will be half, 2.5.
Yeah. We'll see if this is this if there is
No, this will
anything
make the cut.
salvageable.
This will make the cut 1000%. This is important. This is, I think, the kind of thing where it's like, in an emergency situation, you show who you really are. And I think that this is sort of what's happening in this moment.
That's, entirely fair. I want to ask questions, and I'm so sure there's no way you're going to hear them or be able to answer.
You're in sync right now. Do you want to try?
Oh, cool.
Get one out fast, and then let's see.
Any word from NMNNSNMSNBC?
I hope not. I hope they didn't see a single second of it, and then that host Vic has an opportunity to fulfill their dream. I just really think that I wish that for them, that their career wasn't ruined by a Rogue interview, and that they have the opportunity, because it's about the shot, right? They're maybe finally becoming in a position where they have the ability to have a shot at a job like that. So I'm hoping that they didn't see that, but have seen enough other stuff that they're like, oh yeah, let's give host Vic a shot at, we can do a half hour midday, see how that pans out, and then maybe aim for one of those primetime slots. Sure.
I got like 3/4 of it. I got most of that answer. Half hour midday. So I got a lot of that.
Honestly,
it's pretty exciting. This is going to be another very fun interview that I get to rewatch.
Riverside is doing me a favor personally, because as they said, what I love to do is hear a question as I've already started speaking, interpret and understand the question by when I'm already, let's say, like 4 sentences deep into what I've been saying. And so I'll tack on then an extra, after I've made my point, just for fun, I'll tack on an extra, I don't know, 5 or 6 sentences, because I can. You know what I mean? Just improve my breadth of language. And so I think those getting edited out are doing me a favor personally.
I hope you're tacking on extra sentences right now. Great. Sam Reich did an interview with NPR where he talked specifically about your episode of Sam Says. And in solidarity with you, I am wearing a shirt that says pigs are people too. Because telling you that you can't look at a pig wearing a tiny hat is the cruelest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's tough. I, again, like, the way that a lot of everything on Dropout shoots is it's a little bit of a fever dream. I'm going to have to go back and watch and see if it plays as heartbreaking as it was in person. And I hope it does. I hope people feel our pain on that.
Active listening.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you hear did it seem like I just sort of was sitting there, or did my audio cut in way later?
Oh no, you froze fully for me. I have no idea what happened. I think you answered the question. I'm confident in that.
I did. I definitely did.
The bummer is I had this like. The bummer is I had this beautiful plan of like getting you to answer a question, and then you do the thing that you do at the end of your questions, which is, or end of your answers, where you say, "Did that answer your question?" And I was going to fully commit to being cruel and saying, "Not at all," just because I thought it would be funny. And there's simply no way that's going to work out in this interview.
That is just a position you're putting yourself in, a negative position you're putting yourself in, because you know how like I got a lot of nieces and nephews, and like there's a lot of that like why when they get into that phase, and a lot of people I know hate that. And for me, it's my favorite thing because I'll play that game forever. I'll let the child tell me, "No, I think I got it," and I'll keep going, and I'll go, "No, I think I've got a little bit more to say about that, actually." So that's sort of where that's how I feel about that. Did that answer your question?
Not in the slightest, and I love it so much because I heard the whole thing. The first answer I got the full answer to was as incoherent as possible. Perfection.
My goal.
Yeah. Um, the Blair Witch style intro, whose call was that of you being an inch away from the wall? It made me laugh so hard.
Oh, thank you so much. Tamar and I spent a lot of time sort of like, again, developing like the sort of like ins and outs and backstory of host Vic and the parameters that they have and like live and abide by as sort of like they're the rules of them in their world. And so like we just like the idea that like host Vic has been on the set for all of these interviews the entire time, and so like they get bored, and that's sort of like a recharge position. So I don't know who came up with it, but it was like we had a lot of fun picking out those different intro things, and I think that one was probably my favorite one, and I'm glad that it played. To me, maybe only, but it did play well in my home.
Yeah, hey, played well here, obviously. And I had a theoretical segment that there's no way we're going to be able to do, where I read the comments, where I go and like read comments and like pick out the good ones so that you can believe the good ones without having to believe the bad ones. And then if there are bad ones, I threaten them with the guillotine.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, right?
A perfect situation.
But like, simply no way it's going to work in this interview. But there were positive comments about that intro.
I'll believe it when I see it, and I won't see it, so I don't believe
it. The fun thing, one of the fun things about this episode was, even though I know they weren't shot in this order, it felt like host Vic had enough from like the first 3 episodes of Cruelty, and just had really reasserted their control over the set by just being so mean to the dolls, excuse me.
I mean, like, Tamar really is like a genius with story, is just so wonderful, and has just such like, it's such an internal metronome for her. Like, again, like me ordering it, I just would have been like, oh, like, this one, and then maybe this one. Maybe for me, it would have been a little bit more like texture based, like, oh, this one's like big and this one's small. And I mean, she did a brilliant job with that, but just in terms of also lining up, like, when we were doling out like personal information about Vic. Yeah, and exactly. Sort of like where the host would be at an emotional arc, so it would make sense for like this to be the type of things that were happening. I mean, it's just like, she's a genius.
She is truly fantastic. I'll tell you what, your camera has suddenly become so sharp on my end. It's really exciting. It's the makeup and hair looks great for whatever thing you may have been shooting today.
I appreciate that. I have no idea how that's possible, because literally on my end, it is getting grainier by the second. And I think my camera is the reason that I'm rambling so much. The camera is making both my thoughts and image grainier.
Ooh. No way you were tacking on more sentences to that. That's for sure.
I couldn't and I wouldn't. I'm so quiet and so shy.
Yeah. That's what everyone says about you. All right, let's see if we can get, I don't know what that means. I've talked to no one. That's not true. I talked to Tamar about you quite a bit.
Good things I'm begging.
Exclusively good things.
Amazing. Thank you.
How did I not? how did I lose the? Oh, here it is. Your dad, very funny.
Sure. Oh. My dad, the
Um,
person, or my dad, the comment in
on
the
the lot.
segment?
I assume the person. I'm assuming it's him. Commented on the latte
Oh,
art Instagram. I'm still alive, staying away from coffee houses. Solid work.
he got pinned, and I know this because he sent it to the family group chat and said, "Look, my first pinning," and screenshotted it and sent it to the family, and then also his best friend, Tom Simon. So that was a pretty monumentous moment at sort of in my family's house.
I love it. So it's a Tom and Tom situation. That's pretty amazing.
It's a Tom and Tom situation. It was great. The two Toms. I really have a one. My uncle Tom Simon is a builder, and my dad says he has a flair for design. So I really want an HD TV show for the two of them. Is sort of
Of the two
my
Toms. Oh, that's yeah.
my long term plan.
I don't know if that's in any way serious or not, and I love it so much.
I would love for it to be. If anybody's out there, I would love for it to be serious. So that is if I,
Great.
so call me, please call me HGTV. So that's my plan.
How much French do you speak?
Peux-tu parler français?
I speak none, so.
Non? Mais oui.
Instantly frozen. I hope you're just going in French right now.
Peu du français. Donc, no. My accent is better than my words. I literally sat there and I was like, because I know enough songs in French that if you just say those songs is my trick. Anytime I have to speak French in a way where I know nobody else is going to be able to speak French, is I think of the French songs that I learned. In Canada, you have to take French, and I failed at a French class. They were really surprised because they're like, Vic speaks pretty well. But then on the written exams, failed. And so then I got moved to Spanish ab inicio, which I thought meant beginner Spanish. This is sort of I think the testament to how well I did in that class. And it means fan. It was just what my school called beginner Spanish, was Spanish ab inicio, which doesn't mean anything. But I had always assumed it means beginner Spanish.
Oh man, that's so good. Speaking of Spanish, Donde está la biblioteca? What a swing from Jacob! Just so fantastic. The fact that it wasn't even what you asked him to translate, all of it perfect.
Yeah, close enough, but just far away in Spanish. Really, I mean, no notes. A pretty perfect response.
Yeah. I also say, like, people on the internet, speaking of the comments, people on the internet pretty excited that there was some breaking in this episode.
Yes, this I did see. It's so it makes me happy that people like sort of like seeing the humans behind it as well. And it was like, I don't know, a fun moment, and for it to be with Jacob and Kim, yeah, like two very good buds. I was I was happy with it, and I was happy people were happy about it.
Yeah, super fun. I know we've talked about like how you were able to keep it together through Nana. I love that you like really kept it together through Nana, but like Jacob making out with a skull was just a step too far.
Well, the big break moment was I don't know how well it translates, but there was a tooth in the skull and the tooth literally came out into Jacob's mouth. I'm almost 1000% positive was how it went down, if I can remember correctly. And that was, I mean, like, the physical comedy of it all and Jacob's reaction to it in character really was just too much. It was too much. And I mean, like, that was one of the very few times that I really broke on set. But coming up in a few weeks, there is, and we'll talk about it later, there is, just one episode where we literally had like 15-20 minutes it took me and this person to calm down enough to continue filming.
Yeah, I talked to Tamar about Zach's episode.
Oh, yeah.
That
Okay.
yeah, that we had that it was the final episode of filming, and Tamar told Zach that, and that the set was no longer needed. So that's my like frame of reference of what is coming, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's it really is. It's been so cool talking to Tamar as she's been editing a lot of these episodes as well, because I'm seeing them for the most part as people are also seeing them. So it is just like, I mean, really incredible to see all of it come together. And then also again, like I stand by, I think my friends are the funniest people on the planet, and so also like getting to see that come to life and getting to see people interact with
Improv.
that has just been like a dream.
Yeah, it's been so fun. Like Tamara and I are like light friends now. Obviously not a best friend
Okay,
situation.
best friends, but that that takes
Yes.
time.
Yeah. But like I message her almost every week to just be like, oh my God, incredible. Because it really is. Every episode has been so fantastic. I'll just assume you're saying thank you. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great.
I
Great.
I know the delay that I'm on right now for you, so I am doing my best to, as you are talking, be as quiet as possible, so that way it's easier for the edit. That way I'm not interrupting you as you're talking on your side.
I appreciate it. It's so much fun. Every bit of this is delightful. If you were curious if your camera has truly like you have morphed into kind of like the monster from The Ring.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's gonna be a lot of faces of me being like, "What? Oh, huh? Okay. No. Okay. That's a lot of sort of like the vibe of faces that you're getting over here."
Great. I can't wait to watch and find out literally anything that either of us said because
Here,
full fever
I'm gonna do
dream
a
here.
series. I'm gonna do a series of a couple of things that if you need to edit them in, then you've just got my reactions to stuff. Ready? Whoa! Okay, thanks. Yeah, no. Thank you. Thank you. No. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so then you just have those if you want to series them in anywhere, just in blank spaces, and then it's just there, you know?
Oh man, it's so good because I got a couple of them.
And so those are just in there for the future, maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely edit this to be coherent for sure. That's a thing that I do.
Yeah. Well, I assume heavy editing.
um, so some of the comments. Who knows if you can hear me?
I can. You are coming through.
Great. One thing I love is that Vic is kind of an asshole. Vic is in the host, not the actual person. Like Sam can do an over the top. Sam can do an over the top villain when Game Changer calls for it, but Vic feels like exactly the sort of fuckwad who winds up doing local news and thinks that makes them important. Thoughts?
Thought is that doing local news does make me important, because name a more important job than being a local news anchor.
Hey, local news is genuinely very important.
Yeah. Yes, local news is genuinely very important, person. I love that. That's exactly the vibe that we were going for. Yeah, of like the type of person, like, and I think just characters in general that I really like and gravitate towards are people in like positions of power but have no authority whatsoever over anybody, and their life is actually kind of sad, but like they spend a lot of time projecting like prosperity and projecting like a sense of authority, and really just don't have any. Low status characters that think they're high status characters in general are just like, there's really nothing that feels better to play for me.
Oh,
No, not pretty cool actually. Pretty cool
the
and pretty
bummer of it
fun.
all is I got what I'm sure was the whole answer, and then I'm sure you stopped talking and I was frozen.
Here's the kicker of all of this, Jordon, if I'm being honest.
Kimia,
You are
go.
perfectly you are perfectly in sync for me, and you are perfectly in time for me. So it is just me that's off. So I will then start responding to you because I can hear you in real time. And then you'll be like, yeah. Oh. Yes.
It's gonna be such a fun interview for people to watch, for sure.
For sure. Gotta be, please.
I need this, please.
You need this. I need this.
I need this podcast that I've somehow like engineered you to be a part of on accident to like really go well.
It's a blast, and it is going very well. And if people don't see that, then honestly, that's their fault.
Agreed. Yeah.
The perfect podcast. Everybody's saying that, including me. Me and everybody I know is saying that. Everybody, there's a lot of buzz.
So I'm sure you talked about it all day today at the Dropout set of just like, hey, that Jordon Brown, fantastic.
They put up a poster that said I'm not allowed to talk about it anymore, actually.
I bet it was a good story.
To do just like a little half joke that's not even really joke, playing to complete silence and then to a okay, and next one is the funniest version of that there possibly could be.
Oh man, that's I mean, look, you know I would laugh if I could hear it. I'll tell you, one of the things that was really terrifying for our first interview is I feel like you don't break very often.
Sure.
And I feed off of laughter. And so I was really worried that like I was never going to be able to make you laugh. And it turns out you laugh quite easily. And that's delightful.
No, I love laughing. It's my favorite thing to do. But it's like, it's just one of those things where like with something like this, I thought, and I think something Tamara and I talked a lot about is that host character just like taking the job as seriously as we could muster under the circumstances and like with the makeup and stuff like that, obviously, like dealing with the characters as they come, but like we thought was the funniest version of that. And like I will do anything for a bit, and this and including not laughing at things that are like the funniest things I've been a part of.
I got the end of the sentence. It kind of looks like right now you're on like an old episode of Cops, and you did not sign the waiver to be part of the show, and you just have like the full blurred face.
The progress that my camera has gone through for you specifically is fascinating. From the sharpest, clearest image that anyone has ever seen to a non-wavered extra on a reality show, I guess Cops would be, is a journey. But I'm happy we're going on together here. I think a friendship needs to be tested.
Yeah. I guess so. I got nothing. So the coffee chug that we are now blood brothers of, I don't know what you would call it.
Yeah. No, I'd call it blood brothers.
I really wish I had asked you beforehand what was in Nana's martini and had found out that it was ginger ale and not olive juice, because watered down coffee and olive juice is a pretty horrible combination.
I literally can't imagine. To be fair, you didn't have a half of a Werther's and a Werther's wrapper in there. So that is, I guess, something that I had to do that you didn't have. That being said, I think I would take that and a pit of an olive.
That is true.
I'd had two olive pits in there as well. But I mean, a very different vibe. Then I would still drink that every single day of the week over half coffee, half water, half third coffee, third water, third olive juice. Sounds like maybe the worst thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah. Roughly right. Yeah. It was very bad. But raised like $1,100. Look, I don't know what's happening. Raised like $1,100, so well worth it.
I mean, like, truly is such a feat. I'm so impressed and thrilled to be tangentially a part of a associated with a group that is like doing so much good and has hearts for giving like that. That's just, I mean, like, it's really wonderful and very exciting.
Yeah, it was terrible. The Tabasco shot nearly killed me.
Yeah.
But the good cause and well worth it. And I won.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the most
and you
important
won,
thing.
and so that's
'Cause there
not
was
nothing. That's definitely something.
yeah.
Well, I truly a huge congratulations to you and the
'cause a
group.
couple-
Like, that is just like such a feat.
Thank you.
I am not intentionally talking over you. I promise. There is always a pause in the conversation.
I'm very aware, and I'm also not intentionally talking over you, and I definitely am so much.
No, it's good. It's better this way.
I was going to ask about Kimia's hair, your thoughts on that incredible bird display.
I think it wasn't like the most massive overall transformation for the two of them, but I think was one of my favorite, like, aesthetically. Like, the hair, I'm not totally caught up on the I'm just missing this week's BTS makeup one, but I've been watching those as well. So I am so curious because that one too was truly one of my favorite transformations. I thought it was so beautiful, and a lot of that was Vanessa, who did costumes, just like really spectacular. I think they constructed that whole thing.
Yeah, I think they did. That it does sound like wildly. I got the whole answer. There was something to do with like birds originally as like part of the character design, and so they wanted to incorporate that and like built it in, which is so fun. Also, since you haven't seen the BTS, then we got a little bit of the taste of Jacob coming in and doing the like pre-show dry run, which is super fun. We got a little bit of behind the scenes pictures of him in the like.
Amazing.
Like safari gear with like the baby Bjorn.
I think the idea behind that one was tourist. You would tourist with a baby, but the baby was always like an alien or like something like that. But yes, I was very grateful because Tamara and I had talked about really wanting to do a dry run. I also did did beg my friends to do like 2prov with me, and so just did a bunch of shows like that before we started going. And then Jacob was really kind to come in on an off day and just run like a couple of different scenarios with me, and obviously I improvise a ton with him, and it just made me feel a lot more comfortable in the hosting role.
That's delightful. And I love the we've talked about it. The behind the scenes are like so incredibly too short, but I'm so happy that we have even a little bit of them.
Yeah, same. I like even just because I feel like I'm like running around getting things prepped and like getting ready to go, but like Tamara's like, I mean, her day is like running shoes on place to place. Like the second that something is done shooting, she's prepping the next team to go and stuff like that. It just was, yeah, absolute insanity. So having the second to go look back and be like, oh, this was all of this was happening and I just like didn't see any of it, or like I wasn't a part of this part of the pre-pro. So it was like just getting to see all of that is just very, very cool.
Yeah, I love Dropout concludes behind the scenes stuff. I mean, obviously I do, or this whole weird thing wouldn't have started. But this is entirely off topic. So the Cut for Time Make Some Noise episode that aired recently-ish had a great prompt of you, Jacob, and Zach. of a hiker, lost hikers. Someone reverts to cannibalism way too soon.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah, fantastic. I have the top comment on the TikTok video because I'm online too much.
Congratulations. Huge. No, that's massive.
But
That's you, that you did that.
I was like, but I had said, like, the thing that I really loved about that was, as it started, you couldn't tell who was going to be the person who reverted to cannibalism. Like, it could have been any of you. And then Zach leaned in and sniffed Jacob, and you all just immediately leaned into it so hard, so fast, which I love. And then someone replied to me and said that they knew it was going to be Zach because he would never let someone else have that joke. And the audacity to think that Zach is not a good collaborator and improviser infuriated me to no end.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, it's funny that like, it's two-part. One, like, Zach is one of the most, like, generous, wonderful improvisers. He's one of my favorite people in the world to improvise with. I mean, like, yeah, I think that is maybe yeah, somebody just, like, maybe not totally understanding, like, what he does and how he does it, because he really is just, like, the best at yeah, the best at, like, I think he just does, like, really wonderful character work in a very subtle way. And, like, again, he just is unbelievably generous in setting people up. And two, I would say, from the to your point, from, if I remember on the day correctly, like, I think maybe in the edit and the way that it got cut, it didn't show that off. But I would also say that, like, pretty early on, like, Jacob and I think always knew that Zach was going to be that person just from the setup. Like, it was also just like we knew it was going to be him uh from, like, the first line or two. It was the vibe of what was going on. But I also think too, the three of us improvise a lot together, and that's also just, like, the kind of character that's really in Zach's wheelhouse. And so, like, I think it just was sort of like a common knowledge of, like, oh yeah, like, Zach is going to be that person. And Zach also agreed that it would be him. Like, there was never a doubt in my mind that it was going to be Zach doing that.
Yeah, yes. So I fully appreciate that. I think what happens is people see Zach's, like, sniper level hit a joke or hit a punchline, and they're like, he's the one who's going to get the punchline every time. But that's obviously not it, because he's a fantastic giving improviser, as you just said.
Yeah, and it also just too is like, especially in Make Some Noise, often prompts are written based on, like, people, especially those of us that have come back a few times. Like, prompts are written, I think, keeping in mind, I can't speak for the production side of things, but I believe that prompts are written keeping in mind, like, the strengths of the improvisers that are on stage. And so oftentimes, like, prompts that are being written for Zach, or that Zach is going to be playing in, are also playing to that strength, because they also, obviously, like, know him very, very well as an improviser. And he just is, like, a button machine. He is, like, so unbelievably good. Yeah, with one-liners and helping, like, absurdly frame a scene. It just is, like, it is such a gift that he has.
Yeah. Oh man, I think such a gift was the end of your sentence, or I'm talking over you right now. Who's to say?
I'm gonna be so quiet.
Great.
That was
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So as part of the production side, I can tell you that so Andrew Rosas is one of the writers for Make Some Noise prompts, and the first season that he wrote for, he submitted, like, a packet of prompts, but he wrote for the season that's currently filming per Paul F. Tompkins. And in that one, they did say,
I can't say. I don't know.
I know. That one they did. They were like,
Jordon.
Hey, I'm not asking you to confirm it.
I won't be tricked by my friend. Maybe Bria's onto something.
She certainly is. Oh man. They were like, if you want to put, like, parentheses who you think should get a prompt that was part of like this current season. He included some of those. Although I will
Oh,
say
cool.
he had written the overly complicated Southern lawyer that Ross Bryant got, and in his head it was originally like for Brennan, and I think Ross crushed it so much that sometimes, you know, like you don't, your first instinct is not the correct one.
Well, it's also just point of view sometimes, right? It's like, I mean, I think also too, like improvisers, there was an improv teacher here in LA that sort of grouped people into different things, Billy Merritt, and I don't remember exactly what the three are, but it was like pirate, ninja, and robot, I think. And there's something to the idea that there's like different types of improvisers on the whole that like come in and do different things. And like I didn't have him as a teacher. I just like that was like a common philosophy that people attributed to him, and I don't know if it's his, but I think it is. And it's, you know, just this, I think it's that kind of thing of like, it makes sense that like Ross would crush a prompt that was like maybe written with Brennan in mind initially. Like they feel like they fall under an umbrella of obviously like two very different people with different senses of humor and different things that they bring to the table in different ways, but under an umbrella of like, oh yes, like improvisers that can pull from this like well of deeply specific knowledge and just like convince you that they're an expert in whatever it is that they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Perfect. Going slowly.
I got pirate and
insane.
ninja. I didn't get the third one. That's fine.
Not important. Doesn't matter. Nothing. Nobody.
Look, I can't wait to find out what the third one was in like 2 hours when I'm rewatching this
kind
interview.
of a surprise. Can I be honest with you, Jordan? I like falling asleep in movies for the same reason, especially if it's a movie I'm really excited about. Because I fall asleep very easily in movies, and I love falling asleep in movies that I've been waiting for, because then I get to go watch it again, and when I watch it again, there's something to look forward to. There's something exciting that is like something that I don't have to like. I can be really excited for a rewatch because I'm like the first time I saw the newest Spider-Man movie. What was it? No Way Home?
A Home from Somewhere.
The first time I saw the third Spider-Man movie, as I said earlier,
Yeah.
I fell asleep and I missed, spoiler alert, if you have not seen the 3-year-old movie at this point, the newest Spider-Man, when Aunt May dies, I fell asleep during that entire part. And so then on rewatch, I was pretty shocked. I sort of inferred that maybe she didn't make it, but was pretty shocking to see that scene play out on a second watch.
Yeah, no, that is very surprising. That's truly wild. Like in the theater, full asleep?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Is there a thing about like falling asleep and being like, I'm in a group of people, if something happens, they'll let me know. It's fine.
Yeah,
I'm paying for time and space and escape, and a nap is an escape.
That's fair. My wife also tends to fall asleep in movie theaters, and I have been known to prod her awake so that she doesn't miss things, and boy, does she not
Jordon.
care for that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll tell her that you're on her side.
Please, I'm begging you. It seems like maybe I have a different new best friend that I'm looking at after this conversation.
Yeah. I will say she was not on board with how you take your coffee, but sleeping in a movie theater, she'll be fully on board.
That's okay. Let her know that it's easier to fall asleep in a movie theater if you're only half caffeinated.
That's entirely fair.
And so there's something to that, I think.
Yeah. You know what I really love about you? The internet knows nothing about you.
Sure.
And so anytime I'm like, oh, I wonder if like something about Vic to like do prep for an interview, like, and I'm trying to Google it, I'll find a site that's like, Vic Michaelis is between the ages of 19 and early 30s. And I'm like, absolutely incredible that it is that much of a spread. Like, they're somewhere in there. They were born sometime. It's so much fun
it really
to just read the speculation.
I do love getting to know people in person. I genuinely do. I am a people person in a lot of ways, but there is just something about online where it just is like, it's growing up in a broad age range of where anywhere between 19 and early 30s where like growing up with a lot of online stuff and social media being a big part of like formative years. It is I feel like I am of that class of people that's like, yeah, my life is my life. And when I'm posting online is online. And, it just is like, it's photos and videos. And like, I love doing comedy. And I'm very, very fortunate that like, I'm surrounded by people that like allow me to do that and be a part of, these like big, wonderful things that they're putting a part of. But, like I am also just like a person, just a person. I'm just a guy, I'm just like the guy in I'm just a little person who is very boring and normal and is just living my tiny guy little life.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's just very fun to ever, because like it's so wild. Like that would be like Vic Michaelis lesbian question mark Vic Michaelis, like it's the like not things that I have searched. Those are like the prompts that come up when like I'm trying to find information. I'm like, what is the internet's such a weird and bad place sometimes. But it also, they did say that no, the internet is weird and bad. You can continue. It's much more interesting than what I was going to say.
No, I'm dying to know what they did say that was actually maybe interesting.
That your best friend is your dad.
Whoa, okay. Pretty true. My dad is one of my best friends. I'm not my dad's best friend, and that's okay. That happens to the best of us.
I mean, double Toms. Like, look, you're a Vic, not a Tom. You can't be his best friend.
I'm fighting a losing battle, and that's okay. There's not really a lot that I can do about that, other than maybe change my name, which I won't. That seems like a lot of work and kind of confusing for the group chat and in general,
Yeah, it does feel like it would be a strong commitment to a bit.
What's your dad's best friend's name?
Oh man, Vic, I got real bad news for you. My dad died in 1984.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Parental figure's best friend's name?
My mom's best friend. I don't know who my mom's best friend is.
Jordon.
Text probably her right now. Yeah, okay.
You need to know this.
Yeah. Who is your best friend? Question mark. Now, I will say a real good chance she does not respond. Yeah. Because she has dropped her phone so many times that it just absolutely does not receive text messages periodically.
Sure. And also just like, I'm sure a tiny little shards of glass that she gets to bathe her fingers in.
Yeah.
Which is love, I think, if she's willing to go through that to message you back.
Yeah. We'll find out. She's not currently typing, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. It was going to be a weird joke about my dad, and I'm just not going to do it. Because here's the thing: he's been dead for so long that it like is no longer emotionally impactful. Like I was a year and a half old. So like occasionally it'll get to like weird things where like I was older than he ever was at like 33, or like I've seen my son older than he ever saw me. And not to get into like a weird therapy session with you.
But it is like that's gotta like, I mean, like playing those things in your mind is like, I can't imagine like the sort of like, kaleidoscope effect that something like that has, Yeah.
It's very strange. What doesn't surprise people is that I'm an only child, because of every bit of the vibe about me.
No, I would say only child or youngest child would be my guess, which I think maybe
Yeah.
a lot of only children also give off a little bit of youngest child. But also, I don't know. I also would not be like totally shocked if you were like, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest, and then I have younger siblings that are like maybe like 8 years younger than me. I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, nope, only child. One time I was walking with some colleagues, and one of them was like, "Yeah, I'm an only child," and so the three of us, and so person A says, "I'm an only child." Person B is like, "Oh, I would have never guessed that about you," and I said, "I'm an only child," and person B was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay."
Was this when you were the head of your journalism department in the head of your
Yeah.
journalism department when you were a
Yes.
professor of journalism?
Yep. Look at you remembering
I
things
love
that we
that.
talked about.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
really spreading that rumor that you were head of the department because I think it's important, and I also think it's a little bit bullshit, the titles that come along with that and how important they are. Because at the end of the day,
yeah.
if you're an adjunct professor, you're already in a lot of places not getting healthcare included in part of that. So I think at the very least you can steal some. Is it stealing valor if you're saying that you were head of a department, or is it just lying?
Just lying. There's no valor in
I'm okay with
academia.
I think I'm okay with lying about it then. And then you can also send it back to me to be like, oh no, it's a joke. That honestly is always my favorite thing to do is if, lie a little bit. And if people are like, why'd you lie about that? You go, it was a joke. It was a
Yeah.
joke.
Very,
So you can steal that
very.
if you want.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Be like, no, actually, I do this interview series with comedians, so it was a joke.
It was a joke, actually.
Still no text back from my mom, if you were curious. We had
That's
dinner
tough.
with her
Honestly,
tonight,
next
though.
time.
It was very nice. Yeah, I'll find
Oh, did
out.
you?
I'll
Oh, right,
find
because you're
out.
behind.
Yeah, we're Central Time Zone here, so yeah, I don't know. This is devolved into such a weird vibe, which is great. I know you have at least. Well, you said you have nieces and nephews. So I'm not going to give
Yes.
like the internet an amount of like how many siblings you have or anything like that because I want to keep the mystery alive.
Wow,
Um,
thank you.
but I know you mentioned to me that a sibling, we won't say what, was really
Okay.
excited when you were going to talk to me.
Yes,
How
correct.
excited are they that we are best friends now?
Pretty excited. They said, I saw you on TikTok. And I said, really? And they said, yes, Jordon was interviewing you. And I said, okay, pretty cool. Making me pretty cool amongst her friends. And so thank you for that, for allowing me to win my sister's affection via your interview series. I appreciate that. And to that, I have to say, Sarah and everybody else, please go follow Jordon. I think it's the law at this point. I think legally you have to follow Jordon. You have to deactivate your TikTok account. Is how I feel about it.
Oh man, I can't wait to clip that because I don't know if you saw I posted someone posted a video about like the cool stuff Dropout is doing, and all of these people in their comments were like, I wish more people talked about Dropout, and a bunch of them didn't follow me, and I was like, come on, it's all I talk about.
Come
And so then I
on.
posted the clip
Being an
of you
official Java
yelling that,
reporter.
yeah,
And so then now you have a calmer version of it. Just to sort of
yeah,
even it out. If you need to yell at
yeah,
somebody about it, then you got that. But then if you like a calmer version of it, then you have this calmer version of it. And I feel great about that.
yeah. No, you like to have like options in the editing bay of like which one.
Exactly. Exactly. You get it.
Yeah, yeah. I get it. I understand television. That's the thing. Um,
And Jordon, I am so sorry. I
what's
do
it?
have to get going
Oh yes,
here.
yes, yes. Do you have anything you want to plug? We're just good to go. Go.
No, a lot of really honestly terrible, no good, very bad anti-trans bills that are going on here and about continuing donating to Doctors Without Borders. I think is really wonderful as you've been raising money for that, but also too, I know cash is tight, but you can also follow your local trans organizations. Donate to those, give them a follow, or just boost their content.
Vic, thank you so much. This has been so delightful as always. I'm gonna hit
Jordan,
stop
thank you
recording so
so
that you can
much.
go.
What's
This
gonna
was
happen
the
with
best.
this edit? Who knows?
Look at us. Look at us.
Just